with Jim and Muff. Oh, buddy. Off a hell of a college football weekend.
It's a good weekend. It was a great
It
weekend.
was.
Good things.
It was. Today is obviously September 28th, and we are live on YouTube. This has become more of the norm now.
We are on the YouTubes. Okay, that's why you asked me if I was ready. All
yes,
right.
Jim.
Buckle
Questions
in.
have purpose with me. I think you know this by now in our lives.
I was like, man, this guy's in a mood tonight, but now I understand.
Yes. So, we're going to talk about the week that was in sports. Obviously, the aforementioned, I'm not going to say all-time weekend, but it's definitely a hell of a weekend in college football and the NFL action that has taken place up till tonight, Sunday night. And just as an aside, right, the Ryder Cup also went down for all of those golf fans, if they exist in our world at the moment.
I mean, it was like world news. The president was there. So, like, don't sell the sport short. It got attention.
It got attention, and it may have been the worst weekend for the golf world in the United States to get attention. But we will get into that very shortly because we're going to start that with a leadoff. But that is always thanks to everybody that's interacting with all the socials at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube right now and you're listening, you need to make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and get in the comments. And for all the other ones, subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Ding, ding.
Get that bell on. And without further ado, we get into the leadoff. The leadoff will only have one topic of conversation, and that is the Ryder Cup. It happened. The United States lost. I was going to say, as I was putting this together very convincingly, but they found a way to make this conversation on Sunday. Shout out to soccer guru Andy for his commitment to country, along with fellow betting degenerate Tim, who were at the event. Andy on Friday, Tim on Saturday.
Is that that's where we're leaving it, or where are we going?
You know, sometimes I just want you guys to talk.
Well, I mean, your friends were at the golf.
So we have other gurus there, and we don't have like live reporting from the gurus on the socials, or
yeah, I mean.
Oh, so now it's just all constructive criticism. We do have clips. Tim grabbed a clip.
For us to.
I was just gonna say.
I didn't leave us a lot.
I was gonna say you do have
the bone there, Muff.
All right, so Tim grabbed a clip of Scotty Scheffler signing merch for a kid that he hit with a ball.
That's awesome.
So we'll get that.
I bet that kid would get hit with the ball again.
Scotty, keep the ball in play, man.
It did keep the ball in play. It was in the rough, I believe, all said and done. Don't know if he won the hole.
Well, get out of the way, kid.
Get out of the way, kid. 100%. Andy got some pictures. He was there on Friday. Tim reported that concessions ran out on Saturday while he was there, and his VIP ticket, they were only giving them cold steak and tuna salad sandwiches.
Ooh, that's rough.
So on the golf side, Europe retains the Ryder Cup. For anybody that saw anything over the weekend, you now know that the fans of the United States and the fans, I'm not going to say just specifically of New York, but I bet there were a lot of New York fans there, did some asshole-ish things.
No.
A drink was thrown at Rory McIlroy's wife.
That's not
Quite
nice.
literally, the clip was her walking through like an enclosed area, and somebody threw it, looked like a beer can. I don't know if there was beer in it. I don't know if it was opened, but that drew the ire of the Northern Irish man. He was pretty pissed, as I think we all would be.
Mm-hmm.
There were many, many step-offs from shots by Team Europe players. There were even some middle fingers and FU chants towards these players, and a couple of step-offs elicited some strong emotional verbal responses from the European lads.
What are step-offs?
You are literally about to hit the ball, and people were yelling, and you step off your shot without hitting it.
Gotcha.
We also were introduced, or at least I was introduced, to a Ryder Cup rule where if a player, which happened on Sunday with Victor Hovland, is unable to play in his specific 1v1 match, because it's all individual 1v1 match play on Sunday, and all of the players throughout the team play, because there are alternates for the team portion of the events on Friday and Saturday. If an individual is not able to play, the teams have a gentleman's agreement that the team that forfeits does not lose the point. They split the point as if they had tied the match.
Dumb.
That is
And
dumb. I'm sorry. If you can't play, that's on you.
golf being golf, I want to say. A gentleman's agreement, but this is competition, and there is first and there is last, because there are only two teams competing.
Show up and win.
Bingo.
You play to win the game.
Indeed you do. The United States on Sunday did try to make an improbable comeback, but Shane Lowry sealed the deal with an 18th-hole birdie putt to secure the last half point needed for Europe to retain the Ryder Cup.
Muff, who are you rooting for in this? I'm assuming America, right?
I was rooting for America.
Okay.
Was there ever a doubt there, Jim?
Yeah, Jim.
You have so much excitement for the winner. There's not a lot of disdain.
Should I have disdain?
Hey, your country lost. You should hate everyone. We're gonna get you turned around. I think eventually. Eventually, we'll get you.
You're gonna try to
Be
get me
mad
turned
at
around.
losing.
I don't know if you're going to get me there today, Jim. There is a lot to chat about. And with that being said, we are going to not bury the lead. We're going to move straight into college football. Usually we start with the NFL, but not today. Nay. We start with college football.
I'm excited.
In the game that I'm sure Jim is excited to poke the bear.
I'm not going to poke any bears.
Stir the pot a little bit.
You gonna poke Lions instead, Jim?
I'm not going to poke any bears. I'm just going to listen to Muff's breakdown of this wonderful game.
It was a game. Number 6 Oregon comes into State College. White out Saturday night. Here comes Saturday night on NBC. Oregon walks away with a 30-24 victory in 2 overtimes. We'll do a quick synopsis of the game, and I say quick because there's a lot more to chat about than the final outcome of this game. Oregon was up 17-3 with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which after a score prompted Dan Lanning to make the throat/gesture that the game was over. But gentlemen, it was not. It was not. And I stayed true. Penn State storms back to tie the game and take it to overtime. The teams swapped scores in the first overtime, obviously getting the extra points. Nobody went for 2 there. Then Oregon got the ball first and scored in the second overtime. Penn State's Drew Aller on the first play of Penn State's possession in the second overtime throws an interception, and Penn State loses the game, which prompted me to roll off a couch, scream some obscenities, and then recollect myself for further discussion.
It was honestly the most emotion I've ever seen Muff acutely have. Like, just a reaction. Like, he's usually
So,
like,
Alex, since Muff gives us the key 3 reactions, I think we need an Alex reincarnation of Muff's reaction falling off the couch.
it literally was like, have you ever seen a fainting goat?
Yes.
He was there and he was watching, and like there were several jump up and claps, like, you know, normal. And then this one it happened. He just like full roll off the couch. He got up quickly and recovered. He's like, whoa. And then in pure Muff fashion, he was like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, if there was like a video camera on me from Alex's perspective, I would have disappeared.
Yes.
You would have heard me yelling, and then I would have reappeared within 5 seconds.
That checks out.
So
I wasn't awake for that part. So
let's get into that right now. So this is more of the open discussion Q&A, which will be led by some of my experiences throughout this game. I basically watched this game by myself, even though there were 3 other people within 10 to 15 feet of me the entire game. Alex, for probably 3 to 4 minutes into the game, until I woke Alex up and said, Alex, you need to get excited. And Alex had no idea why I needed to get excited, was asleep, recovering from his day drinking in Morgantown.
I will say I woke up the next morning feeling great because I went through my hangover during the Penn State game.
that was Alex's reason for being in that. I was with Baltimore Guru Keith. Also, his wife was in said room. Keith did make it through the majority of the first half, and then he fell asleep, only being awoken to my outbursts and trying to get Alex up and excited. And his wife was asleep for the majority of the game, but did watch. When I say watch, she was more engaged with me throughout the entire fourth quarter of what my emotional reactions were.
Yeah.
So I would like first Alex to provide his perspective of the game as experienced through me. And then I would like to hear Jim's overall sentiment towards the game as it moved along.
So we started the game. I was full in on Penn State. I even helped do the that part. And it started off a little rocky, but okay. I promptly fell asleep. At one point, Muff screamed, and it scared me. I was like a baby being startled, awakened from sleep. Muff was afraid he killed me. He was afraid I had a heart attack. And then Muff was really like, he's one of those people where he's really like steady. Like you could tell in the beginning of the fourth quarter, he was irritated. He wasn't pleased, but he wasn't like me or Jim at that point would have been like MFing the TV. There would be yelling. I think maybe mine would have been more pouting. Jim's would have been more yelling. But Muff stayed true to the Penn State and to his not letting it completely affect his emotions. He then did get very excited. On Muff's level of excitement, it was like a 10 when Penn State was coming back. Overtime was fun. He kept that energy, and then unfortunately, as quickly as Drew Aller threw the interception was as quickly as Muff fell off the couch. And at that point, all of the energy had left his body. And he basically was like, well, that sucks. And I thought he was over it until his mom rubbed salt in the wound this morning and says, oh, did Penn State win? He just said, no, Penn State did not win. It was very like innocent too. She's like an Oliver Steeler garb, like the nice Steeler necklace, like ready for the day, like so happy. And she's like, did Penn State win? And he's like, no, Penn State didn't win. I was like, oh. Salt in the wound.
And then we moved about our day. Jim?
And then we did move about our day.
Yeah. Jim, take you through your viewing experience and your thoughts and sentiments as the game progressed.
So I had the Bama game on with the Penn State game. So I was kind of like not really with it for the first scoring drive of Penn State. Looked down and I saw, 3-0 Penn State. All right. I felt the whiteout was catching steam. I was like, ugh, how's this going to work? And then I think Oregon had gotten stopped a lot in the second quarter. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to listen to Muff's shit about Jimmy Knowles. But that didn't last very long. It seemed like Oregon caught life, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Third quarter, 10-3 with that touchdown. I was like, oh, okay. big play, big game Jim Knowles and big game Mr. Franklin. They're going to botch this one. And then another one, 17-3. I was like, ha, this motherfucker's in the bag. And I was like, time to start the clown cartoon. And that's when I went to the designing of James Franklin as a clown. And then Penn State scored. And I was like, uh-oh, have I done this? Is this my fault? Have I jinxed this? So I stopped the clown creating and stopped looking at the screen and started just diving in on the Bama game. Only to look up and see, oh no, it's 17-17. Why? Then I zeroed in on the overtime. That first touchdown from Penn State, I was like, oh, this is it. This is it in the bag. Dunzo. Then when Oregon scored, I was like, okay, all right, okay. And then Oregon scored again and missed the extra point. The Ohio State, the gym, whatever you want to call it, was like, all right, Penn State wins. This is over. There was no doubt in my mind. Penn State would score in the whiteout and get that extra point. Like it was over. And then that interception came, and I was like, "Oh, time to create the meme. Let's go." So I could see the roller coaster of emotions.
Nate, were you watching this game at all?
I caught the very end of it at a bar in Findlay, Ohio.
Okay. What was this? What was the bar's mood?
It was mainly just us and some other people there. But it was like, of course, on like the smaller the TVs behind us. So I'm trying to think what other game they had on. Oh, they had the Alabama-Georgia game on the bigger TV. So, but I think everybody was kind of rooting for Penn State at the bar as well.
There were people in Ohio rooting for Penn State, eh?
Yeah, but
There were.
mean, ultimately, we're gonna root for Penn State because like they're the OGs of the Big Ten with us. Like we don't like Oregon.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's get into some just general items within the game. We'll get into calls of question, question mark. We obviously have our guru of officiating with us, so he's had some time to look over 2 specific plays that we've put into his algorithms and into the socials for him to look over. So the first, which happened at a key time in the game and could have potentially created at least some early momentum swing, was a fumble that never was. A fumble of Oregon inside the 5-yard line of Penn State that was retrieved by Penn State, was recovered by Penn State, and they ran it out to around midfield. Quickly went to commercial, and when it came back, it was stated the runner was down prior to the fumble, and that ultimately led to an Oregon touchdown. So, Nate, you got a chance to look at this. There was a lot of just general discussion amongst the announcers. What were your thoughts on this play, and was it the right call to overturn?
So whenever you send it to me, the first question I always have is, what was the call on the field? And you said it was called a fumble, so I'm like, okay, they have to have enough evidence to overturn it. So when I first watched it without even knowing what the call on the field was, I thought he was down. I thought that knee was very close. Usually you would see a little bit of a sliver. I mean, there could have been, but, I mean, especially with grass, I mean, you might have a little bit of spots that are a little higher, a little lower. But to me, I thought his knee was clearly down, so I supported that overturn.
Okay. Just because there was a discussion amongst the announcers, and obviously I have an opinion that has obviously been disproven by the officials on the field and by you, does the rule state, to your knowledge, that the knee has to make contact with the ground, or is it just touching any part of the ground, which would include grass?
Any body part other than a hand or foot. Touching down puts you down.
But okay, the question is it the ground, is it grass, or does the grass count as the ground?
Grass counts as...
What the hell are you talking about? Like,
Jim, it was so close in any replay I saw, and I really only saw one good angle, which is the one that I sent Nate, that it did not look like any of the ground was disturbed. It didn't even look to me like there was grass disturbed.
You're trying to say a blade of grass hitting the knee versus the actual physical dirt that's holding the grass. That's the differential.
Yes.
I mean,
that's the question I have. I don't know if it's explicit in the rule or not.
No, it's not that I'm aware of. But again, when I looked at, like you said, it wasn't like knee was like definitely like left a divot in the ground or anything like that. But from that angle, I'm like, okay, I think to me that's clear that knee touches the ground. It wasn't like forceful into the ground, but I think it was enough that you don't want to have a cheap turnover there when it's that close.
Jim, that was differentiating because I have no idea what the rule
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
like you're applying golf logic to football here. Like,
what's the golf logic?
Was the ground disturbed?
I mean, that's obviously would be a clear indicator that the knee touched the ground, and we didn't have, I would say, a clear indicator that the knee touched the ground aside from a view that made it appear as though it touched the grass, which is why I want to know if there's specific otherwise.
I'm not even making fun of you. I think it's interesting that it's not in the rules. That's a very good point.
I'll have to look up the exact lingo to see what it says.
Yeah. Well, Jim, to come back to some things we've talked about before, does that mean every school would maybe want to grow their grass up like Northwestern?
It happened in the Ohio State Washington game. Same
Did
thing.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Similar.
Where the knee
Now,
was
did
down.
Washington have grass or they have artificial?
It was turf, but the knee was like, it was close, and the camera was looking for daylight. That was what it was looking for.
Yeah. Right. And I don't expect in these that you're going to have the clear view. Like, it's tough to have that view because that's not one that you're searching for. So that was the first of, I would say, questionable calls. That one did not go in Penn State's favor, obviously. So we move on to the second, which really in a game of this magnitude to only truly have two questionable calls, in my estimation, is not the worst thing that you can have in a game like this, which was an overtime, which was an initial targeting call on Penn State.
No, wait, let's clarify this. I'm going to let you go with that, but let's clarify. Lanning asked for it to be looked at, in my opinion. Like, he pointed to the referee, points to his head, says that's targeting. Nothing happened, and all of a sudden we're reviewing it in the booth.
Right. So, Alex, I want you now to take the group through, and any listeners, what I said as soon as that play ended.
That's not targeting. That's not targeting.
I said, I think the quote was, "Please don't be targeting. Please don't be targeting." Because in real time,
you're right. You're right. It was, please don't be
asking
targeting.
him to verify something when he's drunk. That's
at this point, Alex was sort of. This was late.
At this point, we were good. I did it. So yes, you're right. And I really, honestly, when it first happened, didn't think it was targeting. When he said, "Please don't be targeting," I was like, "It's not." Like, that was my thought. And then I was like, "Oh, we're actually looking at this." And then whenever Dan Lanning was going like this, I actually thought he was just like, "Come on, get tough."
what did I?
Like, I didn't, and I was like, "Oh no, he's asking for a targeting call."
Yep.
All right. So Nate, you have seen this. I mean, really, there was only one real. I mean, you can look at all the angles, but every angle pretty much showed something very similar that I saw. So ultimately, it was deemed not targeting, and there was a lot of discussion about hairline, crowns of helmets.
This is where I got mad.
Right.
Because
Hairline, crowns of.
I initially didn't think it was targeting. The guy was going down.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Yeah, this is stupid." And then I saw what Lanning did, and I was like, number one, as an Ohio State fan, Lanning is the master manipulator of the rule book. And then they said hairline and crown, and that's where I was like, all right, Nate, I'm going to make sure I bring this back up to Nate. Like, where on the helmet did they teach referees, like, good, bad? And like, is there a point? Did they have a dog?
If there is, I have not been instructed of so.
Okay.
When I watched it, I'm like, okay, you definitely have helmet to helmet. So, I mean, the guy's clearly going down. If anything, I think if they wanted to foul to stick, they could have called unnecessary roughness with targeting. So even if the targeting gets overturned, the UNR still stays.
I agree.
Because, I mean, they even have that now where if you target or get called for a targeting foul on the passer, you'll hear a lot of it now, roughing the passer with targeting. So even if the targeting gets overturned, you still have the roughing the passer foul.
I believe all of that was incidental. I just thought that it was a bad.
Again, we're not rolling on intent.
No, I'm saying, like, okay, Nate. But then you have to have.
I'm not going to go up to him and go, "Did you mean to hit him with the crown?"
You can
say it again.
You can have unnecessary roughness without intent.
Yeah, I mean, if you like body weight, for example, if you go body weight on a quarterback, you may not intend to like land on him with your full body weight, but you do, then may not have meant to.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Or like maybe you are rushing the passer and you go to swat the ball and you miss and you hit him in the head, and then you get called for roughing the passer because you smacked him on the dome.
So then let's go back to the hairline crown thing. Is that is that a thing?
Not to my knowledge. I can pull up the rule book because I have a copy of it on my phone. But I don't recall seeing the word hairline anywhere. But the one thing that whenever we saw this at the bar, but I didn't really get a good look at it. The big thing is like there wasn't an indicator, is what they call it. Like he didn't like launch at all or severely like duck his head, like completely put his head
That's
down.
bullshit.
I mean, I
What
thought
is bullshit, Jim? What is bullshit?
His head was down.
It's not Jim. Do you know what the crown is? It is the top of your
Yes.
helmet, not your face mask.
But his head was, he was looking at dirt.
But his crown is not what hit.
And that's where the referee
Yeah.
on the television was like crown and hairline.
Yeah, and hairline to me
angle
was
of my
pretty
neck
much saying
was
like
down.
face mask. Like hairline to me
Like
was
above
like
the
face
forehead.
mask. Yeah.
So it's,
I mean, a lot of guys
you're
like
judging targeting
I mean-
on the angle of the guy's neck when he comes at you. That's what
I mean, yeah, I mean, there is a thing. Yeah, it's like an indicator. Like, does he launch or does he like duck his head? Like, okay, does he really go like that to show you the top of his head? Like, in that situation, the more replays you saw, yeah, he just ducked his head down a little bit, but it wasn't severe enough to warn it. But I thought in that case, again, if you just go UNR with targeting, I mean, that guy was going down on the ground. That guy did not need to hit him. He was tackled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. And then unnecessary roughness was not even a discussion. Right. We didn't hear
Not at
anything.
all.
Right.
Hey, that was a good hit.
No, because you're probably not going to get that with it being a live ball. Like, usually when you get unnecessary roughness, it's going to be after the play is over.
Right.
Gotcha.
Or specifically with a quarterback in that type of situation. Right. And they did say on the broadcast, they said he had established himself as a runner. So a lot of like those types of things were
clarify that right off the jump.
right. So that was good to hear that discussion. So these two plays for me would have been amazing if this was an ACC game to hear the discussion.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. And Alex and I on Friday got to listen to some of that with the Florida State Virginia game. And I was like, oh, this is the first time I've actually heard this. And I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Cool. I'm sorry I fell asleep for that. Damn.
Yeah. Well, no, it was, I mean, it was an exciting game. So, all right. Now let's get into my general thoughts on, we'll say, obviously, this is a biased lean towards why Penn State was not successful and not victorious. So, overall, and I know the stats are out there. Jim has already shared a little bit of a precursor to this, so maybe slightly foreshadowing on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, Oregon significantly outscored Penn State in yards, but if we're looking in regulation, those yards did not necessarily equate to points. So bend not break was just fine in this game, right? Oregon was moving the ball throughout the game, but was not translating it into points. They had one missed field goal, and it wasn't like they turned the ball over a bunch either. So I am okay with the defensive strategy overall, right? Once you get into overtime, it's all bets off for me. Like, you just got to figure it out. Offensively, specifically in the first half, and then towards the end of the third quarter for Penn State, we started to see it different. The play calling initially was incredibly conservative and looked to me like every Penn State big game strategy of the Franklin era, right? We are going to run option handoffs, some jet sweeps, and we're just trying to look underneath and catch some people running crossing routes, which were not open. You know, Drew Aller in the first 2.5 to 3 quarters of the game was just trying to find somebody to throw it in the direction of, because not only was he under duress, but not many receivers were open. So that was my thought on the offensive play calling and the defense. Jim, I'm not even going to ask Alex because Alex was not awake. Jim, since you're the only one that was watching, what were your thoughts on not only my comments on Penn State, but on Oregon's strategy throughout the game?
Your defensive take is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I love you. Ridiculous. You paid Jim Knowles money to steal him away from Ohio State because Ohio State didn't respect him. That's a national championship winning defensive coordinator who gave up 424 yards, 20 first downs. Oregon was 5 of 7 on fourth down, 0 forced sacks, 0 forced turnovers. I get the bend not break, but we had bend not break for the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You paid money for this.
So what was the strategic issue you have then? Because just saying stats does not put the whole puzzle
I'm
together.
saying
So I want to know what the
nothing changed for
strategy
me.
is.
I didn't see anything change. This wasn't a difference. This wasn't a different Penn State. This looked like the same Penn State of the same Penn State. Like they'll be there. They can take a punch to the face, but ultimately, to switch gears to your offense, I agree with your take on the offense. But you paid money to shore up that defense. That did not look good.
Okay, so the fact that you only gave up 17 points and basically gave up nothing in the second half until the overtime means nothing to you about making strategic adjustments, and you're just looking at the stats as a whole and saying this is a bad defensive game.
I think it's bad for what you paid for. It's not a good return on your investment.
All right. Again, I'm not going to ask Alex, and obviously Nate didn't watch it to the end. The last play, right? And then we'll just get into some overall general items about the outcome of this and what this means moving forward for Penn State, Oregon, and the rest of the Big Ten in the national picture, right? Because this has some implications very early on towards the big picture. The last play. Alex can attest, shortly after my emotional 5-second outburst, and I came back to play. I came back to being me. I said out loud, this is a poor play design. You overloaded the short side of the field with an incredibly fast defense, and you run a wheel route for a running back. Was it running back? Whoever it was. I don't know if somebody that was in the slot or coming out of the back. It was in the slot. I think it was Trevor Pena. You run a wheel route for somebody to the short side of field, and you didn't overload it to the other side. So you have all of these bodies, and you have a defensive back who is able to key on everything that's going on that side of the field. Drew Aller, even if he made a perfect throw, it was going to get broken up, or it was going to be just outside of reach of that receiver. So, yes, he made the throw. Yes, it was picked off. Why are we not doing something different? What worked in the fourth quarter and in the first overtime, and trying to get a little too cute. So this is Kotelnek would being a little too cute, in my opinion. So Alex, Jim, and Nate all saw this. Alex can attest to my statement post-game and on the ride home this morning. Thoughts on the last play of the game? We'll start with Nate.
Like you said, just stick to what has worked the entire game. Like, why are you getting away from your identity? Like, if it hasn't been there all game, you threw for 100 and some yards. Why are you trying to truck the ball over the yard now? Like, it's not your MO. It's not what got you there. It's not what's going to get you there. Stick to what you know.
All right, Alex.
No, I agree, and I was fully with you that the last play of the game. I mean, it was just a bad call. It was just, I don't know. I agree with you. Too cute. While you're doing that risky play in a time like that, not good. Too cramped.
Jim.
I don't really have much to debate on it. I think that was silly.
Okay. Which, I mean, I think I'm in agreement. Alex agrees, and Nate is also in agreement with that information. So, yeah, just terrible play call at the worst time of the game is what it is. So, moving on to, well, any other thoughts on the game before we get into this?
What are we getting into?
The next thing in the
betting
notes.
or Franklin?
Franklin, Oregon, the national picture as well as the Big Ten picture. So initially going to slant this towards the Penn State situation as the loser, but you can parlay that into, using the betting terms here, what does this mean for Oregon? What does it mean to the Big Ten? And what does it mean to the national picture, especially looking ahead as much as we can to playoff implications? So let us start with Alex. What does this mean for Penn State? What does this speak to, which has already been spoken to on James Franklin and Drew Aller? And what do we think the big picture is here? Alex.
I think that Penn State, I think they're in the playoff conversation with 2 losses. If if other things help. So I think that on their own, I would be nervous if they lose to Ohio State too. I think that their goal now has to be win the games they need to win. They're supposed to win and come out and try to upset Ohio State. Um, James Franklin, I don't know. I don't think he's a bad coach, but like, what is this juju on him that he can't win one of these games? I'm with you. Like, I get it and I see it, but I don't know. At what point do you make a change? I don't know. I feel very wishy washy on that. I can see both sides, but I think that now Penn State moving forward just needs to focus on winning what they need to win and beating Ohio State.
All right, Nate.
I'm with Alex. I mean, how many times is the same thing just going to continually happen? Like, you get all the hype up here, and then it's like you can't win the big one. Like, I was just looking at the schedule. You got Ohio State in a couple weeks, and then you got IU right after that. So, I mean, if you lose one, if not two of those games, if you lose both, you're done. But again, it comes down to the fact, like, why can't we win the big game? Like, I want to say I found it somewhere, but still, I mean, as we know, Franklin's record speaks for itself in those games. It's like what are we going to do to get over this hump? It's like, are we cursed, or is it coaching? Is it just poor execution? Is it a combination of everything? Like, I just think there's no answer right now.
All right, Jim.
Penn State, Ohio State just got a lot more serious for Penn State, and probably Ohio State, because if Penn State beats Ohio State, then it's Ohio State, Oregon running it back, right? So in terms of down the road, I think the Penn State game against Ohio State's huge. But we say all of that. I think that Indiana is no joke, like as Nate said. I think this opened the door for a lot of teams nationally that the door was shut on. Your Indianas, your Ole Miss, your Texas A&M, it all kind of just, Penn State's not there. In terms of James Franklin, I mean, the record's there. He's 2-21 in the big games. Their strength of schedule going into this game, they were ranked 136 of 136. Like, you had all the stars aligned. You had your whiteout. You had it all. Like, it was easy for you. As a fan base who's had a coach who like that has a hump or kryptonite in that Michigan game, this isn't just like one game. If they beat Oregon and lost to Ohio State, I'd be like, we are your Michigan. I get it. But you lost to Oregon. I think his seat needs to get hot. I think it needs to get hot quick, especially if I gave all that money and I'm in the NIL. We were talking in the summer, beginning of the summer, Penn State was like, they got the bag. And now it's, what are you going to do with it, James Franklin? In terms of Aller, he's just a kid playing ball. Like, I can't hate the kid for that interception. I thought he had some really bright spots in that game. And I hated it. I did not want him to look so good. But he's just a kid playing ball. Is he an NFL prototype? I don't know. But he's a good quarterback. That's
All
my
right.
take.
Okay. So my thoughts overall. So Penn State, right, is a program, obviously under the Franklin era, because that's what we're talking about now. Right now, your Penn State program is synonymous with James Franklin. As everyone has said, the records speak for themselves. With Drew Aller, putting them all together in that way. Yeah, I agree with Jim. You know, there's nothing that he did in that game that makes me like upset. Right? There's nothing that makes me like, oh my God, Drew Aller lost this game. No, he threw the interception on the final play, which people will point to, but you can also point to they are not in that spot without his play in the fourth quarter, right? Without him pulling the ball on a few plays, running down the field, without him making some big throws. While he did miss multiple open receivers throughout the game, he also made some off-script plays early in the game that actually helped them retain some field position and move forward. If we're looking at that James Franklin, Drew Aller relationship, And I'm only going to make this comparison to you, Jim, because of some of the issue you had after Ohio State lost to the Michigan most recently. Ryan Day on the sidelines, watching everything unfold, not really getting in the mix. To James Franklin's credit, the first person he went to after that was Drew Aller, gave him a little punch on the chest and said, keep your head up. And then he went about his business. So at least there was that exchange, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For all of the things you can say bad about James Franklin, I don't think you could say he does not have the players back and is not willing to be their support. It just sucks that he has to be their support when they lose these games. So the national picture, I echo the sentiment of Alex and Nate, and I think, Jim, you said it in a roundabout way. A 2-loss Penn State team likely still gets into the playoff, right? Because that means they have, unless the loss is to somebody other than Ohio State or Indiana, right? And even then they have 2 wins against some top teams. They still sneak in, make their way in just based on what their strength of schedule will be after this weekend and weeks forward. 3 losses, they're out, and I don't think I could make a case otherwise. The national picture, agree with Jim. We opened the doors for some people to feel better about their chances with the thought that Penn State could be a 3-loss team. We also are going to get into the rest of the college football slate and how many teams that people had propped up and put on a pedestal were now at least put down a peg, if not taken off of that pedestal. So those are my thoughts on Penn State in the game that was. Any additional thoughts, comments, items for discussion?
I have 2 points. One, you guys got to get a quarterback developer. You got to get a whisperer on the staff. 2, October 11th, Indiana versus Oregon is the, to me, should be the game. Like, that's the game. All eyes should be on, because Indiana beats Oregon. Everything's on its head, right? Because it all gets kerfuffled.
Right, and especially if Penn State beats Indiana later.
Right, it's all, the door's back to wide open again. So that's my other thought, is like October 11th, I want to see that game.
Okay. And my final thought on this is Dan Lanning succeeded where James Franklin has not been able to succeed in the past. Dan Lanning won the big game earlier in his career.
Dan Lanning is the man. Like, Oregon just needs to roll up a Brinks truck every day to his house.
I mean, that going for it that many times on 4th down, granted, most of them were within 2 or 3 yards. Like, that took some balls and some guts early in the game to stay committed to going on a 4th down every time.
I honestly think he might have a screw loose.
Well, post game.
Like, I really think he's a bit off of it.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a player's coach and an excitable guy. So
yeah,
it works. It's working now. So I don't think there's any reason to change it. Alex, Nate, any final thoughts, or we can move on?
Nope.
Keep on rolling.
All right, next into some other top 25 action, other college games of note. And Friday night we had unranked Virginia taking down Florida State at home, at Virginia's home, 46-38 in 2 overtimes in a game that took way too long to play in the last 5 minutes of the 4th quarter and into overtime. It was a long-ass game. Had a storming of the field. Jim, I know this probably hurt your heart a little bit about Florida State, but alas, it happened.
It's a good game. Virginia is not a joke. You know what I mean? They're a tough team. I think Florida State, what are you going to do? You're still Florida State.
Indeed.
Do we know if that guy that missed the corner of the end zone is alive?
Yeah, that was another one of those ACC replays that they were chatting about. That was the bobble that never stopped bobbling, but regained control just enough to make people ask a lot of questions.
Oh, no, I mean at the end of the game when Florida State threw it in the corner of the end zone and that dude misses it.
Yeah,
He's sitting on
the field.
field. Is he alive?
A lot of people got hurt.
Yeah, I did see there was some
Virginia fans.
People, they're not even saying they're not saying fans or players. They're saying like 18 injured in that stampede. Rough.
That was rough. Yeah, that's what we love about college football until we don't love it about college football when you hear that after the fact, right?
Yep.
And we'll get into a storming of the field that did not happen and what a statement was said about Mr. Lane Kiffin. Next, we have number 17 Bama heading into Georgia and taking out the Bulldogs 24-21. Jim, I know this was a game that you were very much tuned into.
Yeah, buddy, just so I can say it, Muff. Boom.
I mean, it doesn't hit the same because Florida State lost.
Still taking the win. Boom.
All right. So, Jim, general thoughts on the game? What you liked, what you didn't like?
They showed signs that Bama was Bama. I don't want this to be like, well, Georgia had an off night. I don't think that's true. There was some toughness in Bama that had been lacking since Saban had left. There was some heart and some moxie, if you will, out of Alabama. I think that quarterback they have he's a good kid. I think he's a slinger. He's the Drew Aller of the South, if you will. But it was a fun game to watch.
All right. I know that Nate didn't watch it, and I know that Alex didn't watch it. Nope. Moving along. Jim's boy. In lane we trust. Ole Miss takes down number 4 LSU 24-19.
I watched parts of this. It made me too nervous. I watched parts of this.
All right. Leading up to this game, we had Lane Kiffin's daughter announcing that she was dating LSU star linebacker. I forget the guy's name. And then promptly, that linebacker threw up during the game, which led many to fall into the conspiracy that this was an all-time plot by Lane Kiffin to somehow give this man some food poisoning.
I just want to be clear.
What if that is a kid? How funny would that?
If you're dating a girl, right, and you know, oh shit, I'm dating Lane Kiffin's daughter, and I'm gonna try like my best not to make it a thing. I'm about to walk into a game against Lane Kiffin, right? And my girl puts my shit on blast, and it becomes a thing. And then I gotta walk into this game. I think I'm gonna throw up too. Because staring across from me is Lane Kiffin, who, like, Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, about the only two coaches that I'd be like, oh, fuck, I got to deal with them. As, like, girlfriend's dads. And then he has a whole team that wants to kill me. So, no, let the boy throw up.
Natural reaction, you're saying?
Yes.
All right. So post-game, Lane Kiffin made a comment on what it potentially meant to Ole Miss avoiding a $500,000 fine for storming the field. If this would have been
costing about half of one of those DVs.
Yep. The quote was, "What would it cost, or what would this potentially, benefit you?" And he said, "Half of one of LSU's defensive backs," which is just hilarious. That's his line.
Lane Kiffin's the man.
That was.
Well, how about the comment he made? What about the comment he made? He goes, "Yeah, I'm looking for Witt to see if we covered the spread."
Yeah,
I feel like that's him at all times, isn't it, Jim? Doesn't he talk about the spread?
He's full tilt all the time. All the time.
All right, moving on. We had number 23 Illinois besting number 21 USC in a game that definitely had some Big Ten implications about teams on the rise and that may be able to compete for maybe a final playoff spot.
I'll tell you what, that quarterback for USC he good. He's real good. I was impressed with what he could do, but the coaching for USC, if I were that kid for USC, I'd go to Penn State.
It's time to make this change early.
Yeah.
You know you've got a spot opening up next after this year. Just get ready to take the bag and go.
Yeah, it's no thank you. And that's rough because I think Penn State's not a developer of quarterbacks, but like go over there where you don't have a clown at the wheel.
Did you just call James Franklin not a clown?
Yeah, I don't think he's a clown. I like Muff Bunny. I don't think he's a clown.
Okay. So we put that out there. Just false advertising by Jim all weekend.
Yeah.
So Jim, have we found
Riley.
the best time for Illinois to play big games?
Yeah, noon when he's got his lunch in him.
Brett Bielema needs to have that big breakfast in, maybe a little lunch, and he's ready to tackle the day, huh?
Yeah.
No
I
late
think
night
the
games.
shitty part about this is like Illinois has potential to be a good team. Brett Bielema is a good coach. I really like Brett Bielema. They're never going to get the NIL to chase any of this. They are the WVU of the Big Ten. They're going to get a good name coach.
Mm-hmm.
They'll turn it around, but they can only get so far with the talent they have.
Yep. C'est la vie. All right, moving on. Number 1, Ohio State. 24, Washington 6.
It was bumpy. That first 18 minutes, quarter and a half, I was very angry. Very angry.
What were you angry at? The offense, I'm assuming, because the defense was lights out.
Yes. Offensively, we're not clicking. There's no like rhythm at all. Then the fun part about this is like after a game where you beat Washington 24-6, the fan base is like saying is a machine. And I'm like, what? Like we know what those look like. We've had those. That's not he's a good quarterback. I think he has potential to be a great quarterback, but he's not a world beater. The running backs.
No, it's his first ever road game.
I get it. I'm not hating on him. But the way that we make out.
No, I'm just saying everybody that put those lofty expectations on him.
They make him out to be a god.
The dude's what? Yeah, his what? First game on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not playing Ohio and Grambling anymore.
Amen.
You can't even say when you played Texas that was a matchup that really tested your mettle, aside from it was your first game of the year.
I'm tired of that shit too. I get it. Texas is not good now. But y'all hyped them up when they came in. Y'all got your money off of it. So don't make Texas a bunch of slubs. I'm over it. Go ahead.
All right. Moving on. Alex, sorry we have to do this. We have to put this close to the top because it's just what we do. Utah beats WU 48-14.
It was so bad.
I did not see this romping coming.
Nothing good happened. I mean, the tailgate, to quote Neil Brown, that was fun. And then the game was just miserable, honestly.
And to be fair, Alex had so much fun at the tailgate that Alex continued to tailgate and was not in the game until near halftime.
I didn't realize, like, the game went fast.
or the drinks were flowing.
Yeah.
Whatever. One of the two happened, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And as it got worse and worse, my motivation to go in went down and down. And then I went in, and I was watching, and I'm like, this sucks.
So, from my perspective, Alex parted ways with me. I'm not going to say we parted ways, but Alex left tailgate 1 with some friends and went to tailgate 2, while me and Baltimore Guru Keith and a few others walked over. So we go into the game. We're there for the band. We're there for all the pregame pageantry. And Alex is still not to be seen with any of Alex's friends. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're just having a good time. So Keith and I go and meet up with one of our golf buddies that goes on our trip every year. He was in town to see his first WVU game in Morgantown, right? It's like a 6-7-year-old son. Went and hung out with him and his wife and the kid for a little bit, just chilling out. Keith goes because his wife came to the game late. I walk around and I go meet up with golf guru Garrett. who also was in town for the game from DC. So I'm like, all right, time for me to go back to the seat. I bet Alex is here. On the way to meet up with Alex, I call and say, hey, Alex, I'm going by the concession stands. Do you need anything? Alex says, well, and in a voice that I knew what had happened in that last hour and a half, well, I think I need another beer. And at that moment, I knew what I was walking into. I just didn't know if everyone else would be on the same level with Alex as I got there. So I go and I'm like, okay, Alex needs a Busch Light. Go grab a Busch Light, walk down to the seats. And at the time, Alex texted me and said, oh, by the way, we're not in our seats. We are in different seats. But they're in the same section, just like 10 to 12 rows down. So, okay, so now they have just, people are starting to file out and they have found better seats and they're taking advantage.
In my defense, those were the seats my friends bought, but no one, I was the only +1 to that area. So we did have some claim to that area.
So I get to the seats and there were like 7 or 8 of them, 6 or 7 of them rather. And Alex is at the end with the face that I knew what Alex had been doing. And I knew that when Alex had asked me to get this beer, it was not necessary at the time. It was, in fact, a potential problem. So I make my way through the crowd, sit down by Alex, get the beer, and Alex just looks over at me and says, thanks, I needed this. And immediately I went from, this is going to be fun, to now I need to make sure that there's damage control, because I have no idea what Alex is going to say, do, and there were lots of Utah fans around us.
I acted right.
I had to prompt Alex to act right in multiple occasions in like the next 45 minutes before I left. Alex left me, and then I left Alex, and then Alex went back to the tailgate before the game was over. Alex, at one point, was making general commentary to nobody in particular about the game. And then I asked Alex, who are you talking to? And he said, oh, I'm just trying to make friends. And I said, Alex, nobody's listening to you. And then he looks at the woman in front of us and says, well, maybe I can be her friend. And I said, nope, you don't need to be her friend either, because I don't think she wants to talk to you. And he said, okay. Then Alex started to attempt to heckle some Utah fans. And I said, you need to stop this right now. And he said, but there's other people doing it. And I said, Alex, no, we're not getting involved in this, because you getting involved means I'm getting involved, and none of us need this right now, especially your friends who are not engaging in anything that you're doing right now. So this is just me. I am the only one that will be supporting you in this endeavor. And then Alex goes to the bathroom. All right, Alex, maybe Alex can get a water. At this point, Alex is not my problem. While Alex is up going to the bathroom, all of his friends look at me and say, hey, we're leaving. And I said, God damn it. Now Alex is my entire responsibility. I have nobody around me if Alex does go get more beer, and this becomes a larger problem for me. So I say, okay, I will meet Alex at the top of the stairs. Like, before we get down to our seats, see what's going on, and maybe make a decision about what we're going to do with our lives. Alex calls me after he gets out of the bathroom, as I'm standing there for like 5 to 10 minutes, and says, hey, everybody left me. I'm going to go back to the tailgate. Alex is already on his way to the tailgate. Did not pass me at the top of the stairs. Somehow slipped around, exited the stadium, and is on his way back to the tailgate. That put Alex in the situation to start with. I say, okay, I'm going to go find Keith. We'll give you a call, and we'll pick you up on the way through. Alex calls me no more than 10 minutes later. I'm heading back to Keith's truck. All of the people at the tailgate are gone. So Alex has left the game, went to a tailgate that is no longer happening, and said, oh, by the way, I'm just going to go back to the truck and wait for however long you guys need to be.
Let's put it this way. The game was so bad, football-wise, that the people I called were almost back in Wheeling by the time I made it back in the parking lot.
That's terrible.
So then we all leave. We find Alex picking up things at the tailgate, trying to be a contributing member to the tailgate cleanup crew, and then we went back to watch the Penn State game. So that was Alex's journey that I kind of was a part of by proxy.
I had a great time.
Alex had
Minus
such a great time that he was asleep by 8 o'clock and was awoken by me mid Penn State game.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to some other college games. Texas A&M over Auburn, 16-10.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, Indiana over Iowa, 20-15, which this had some betting implications because a last-second safety meant that Indiana did not cover.
And the quarterback apologized for messing up people's spreads.
What world are we in where a college quarterback has to come out and make a
Betting.
statement like this?
Betting.
Iowa State over Arizona, 39-14. Alex, there's your
Arizona
hope.
looked like shit.
What?
I will bet against Arizona all day, every day. Arizona looked bad. Bad.
So Iowa State did not look good.
I mean, they were there, but like Arizona looked. That was the worst I've seen. And maybe I just haven't watched them, but that was the worst I've seen a college football team play. Like that was poop.
All right, I'm glad you watched it because we did not. But Iowa State, that's the Big 12 hope, Alex.
It is. That's all we got now.
That's all we got.
What happened to Texas Tech?
They're on a
What
bye
happened?
week. I mean, they're still a hope,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
sorry, Texas Tech and Iowa State. I apologize.
It's dwindling.
There's the two. There's the two hopes. 15 Tennessee over Mississippi State, 41-34. This was a comeback by Tennessee. This may be a not program defining, but year defining game if they go on to be successful in the SEC.
I looked at it more of like a chink in the armor. Like, I get they may have been up against it, but it just didn't look like they were firing on all cylinders in the beginning either. It felt very Ohio State-y.
Okay, fair enough. Obviously, we'll find out more in Tennessee in their upcoming SEC schedule. 16 Georgia Tech over Wake Forest, 30-29.
Georgia Tech struggled, and then kicked it back in gear. I mean, they made
Dabo
Wake
hang.
Forest good.
It's a sad Dabo hangover, Nate says.
Could be. But yeah, they made Wake Forest look good. That's a problem.
All right, 18 Vandy over Utah State, 55-35.
Nobody can see Vandy games.
Until they start playing the cream of the crop in the SEC.
Yeah,
we're not
next
gonna
week.
know. That's true, and we will see it next week. 20 Missouri over Massachusetts, 42-6. 22 Notre Dame over Arkansas, 56-13.
Arkansas.
They've
Poop.
been fired.
Did they
Got
fire
Arkansas
the coach?
coach fired.
Yeah, Arkansas.
Yep.
Poop.
Yeah.
All right, Arizona State over number 24 TCU, 27-24.
I didn't see the game.
Alex, I feel like this is going to be this middle to bottom tier of the Big 12, just fighting for the top 25 all year.
Pretty much. I see that way too.
All right, and lastly, number 25 BYU over Colorado, 24-21. Alex,
Almost covered.
From what I could see of the beginning of the game, Colorado was, decent. They just they can't sustain. They don't have the players. And Dion doesn't seem to care as much.
there it is. Alex and I will find out later this season when Colorado travels to Morgantown.
Oh my God. You're going to be in the same building as Dion?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to act right that game because I don't know that Muff can stop me if not.
No. I need to video all of the heckling. I'm
I'm gonna have to be sober for that game.
Yeah, Alex is going to have strict drink limits in that game.
I'm going to get him I'm going to figure out a way to get him like a free hooch.
It'll probably have to pass through me, Jim, so I feel like I'll be the regulator.
I might travel to Wheeling and meet him to get him like 2 jugs of shine.
We don't need that, Jim. We don't need that. All right, the AP poll came out. The top 15 goes Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Florida, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Penn State, Indiana, Texas, Alabama, rounding out the top 10 with Texas Tech, Georgia, LSU, Iowa State, and Tennessee, 11 through 15. We all know that this is all made up at this point, and it doesn't really matter. So, anything stick out?
No, I think Ole Miss jumping up was nice.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it should have been expected. I am glad that the AP pollsters gave them credit for their win.
So Ohio State plays Purdue November 8th, and that's the same day as WVU Colorado. I feel like I might make it a workout.
Might be looking for a ticket.
Just so I can poke the bear of Alex and get a hell of a scene out of that. Like for the pod.
As long as it's for the pod and not for the regional jail. If it's for the pod, I can get behind it. If it's for potential legal ramifications, no, Jim. No.
It would be so good.
All right. Notable matchups for this week. We have number 3 Miami at number 16 Florida State. Another opportunity for Florida State to get a big win and put themselves back into some big conversations at the national picture. 16 Vandy at 10 Bama. We'll see if Diego Pavia really is a dog this week. Minnesota at Ohio State.
Night game.
Thoughts? Of course it is. Is this the
Night
NBC
game.
Saturday night game?
I'm guessing probably.
Here comes Saturday night. Penn State at UCLA. Perfect medicine for a post-Oregon loss is taking on Nico Amalivio win. Mississippi State at number 6, Texas A&M. A lot
Is that the game of the week?
What?
Mississippi State, Texas A&M, or are they really going to do Florida State?
I don't know. Where'd game day going? Do we know?
That was my question.
Game day's going to Bama.
Game day's in Bama. There's the game.
Game day's going to Bama.
West Virginia at number 23, BYU.
10:30 on Friday.
All right.
I think you can catch them. I think you can catch them. I might lay. You know what? I'm gonna lay money down on WVU.
As a dog, fully.
It might be. Yeah, let's see.
We will see. This is 2 Utah teams in a row. I will say the WVU fans did make some soaking comments early on in that game.
God bless West Virginia.
Before it got out of hand, and then they had not much to stand on. Kentucky at number 12, Georgia.
Bounce back game for Georgia.
We suppose. And Boise State at number 21, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame looked good.
Go Bronx.
Yes. Thank you, Nate.
Go Broncos. All right, that wraps up the college football world, and let's get into the NFL. You guys are going to have to help me with the late games here. First, in Thursday Night Football, we had the Seahawks beating the Cardinals 23-20. Is this the downfall of the Cardinals for the year? Is this the downward trend already starting?
Yes, but also the Seahawks have been sneaky decent. So, I mean,
Sneaky
to keep
decent.
up with them. Yeah.
I'm using that. Sneaky decent.
That's how I feel about it.
I like it.
Yeah. Seahawks, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they obviously don't get the same pub that we would see normal in our day-to-day because they're on the West Coast. But definitely a team to watch out for the rest of the season. We'll see what comes of the Cardinals, who a lot of talk on Thursday night about Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr.
And the tortilla.
And a lot of conversation using some golf terms, because this is what was used in the broadcast, that maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. has the yips with some drops and some other issues with his play. Not something you want in any world, most definitely not in the golf world. We move on into Sunday morning football. Huh?
Did you want me to comment on that?
No, I just didn't know if anybody was. I mean, they talked about it on the broadcast multiple times.
We lost Nate. I think Marv is a eclectic guy. So if he had the yips, I'd be like, that adds up.
All right, moving into Sunday morning football. 9:30 kickoff on the East Coast, but from Ireland. First regular season game ever in Ireland. The Steelers hold on for a win in Dublin ease their way right into an early bye week.
I'm like annoyed because there was a part of me during this game where I'm like, you know what? We might just win a game. I'm like, not under stress at the end of the Steeler game. We might just win a game. And of course, I ended up ending the game in distress.
It was.
I'm
It
glad
was
we
definitely
won.
closer than it needed to be.
I'm glad we won. It's just like, at what point do we just win a game?
Not today, Alex. Not today. Carson Wentz was playing quarterback for the Vikings. Aside from the game, Steelers backup quarterback Skylar Thompson was accosted and robbed Friday night in Dublin. He is on IR. He was on the IR in the injured reserve going into this game. He suffered quote unquote minor injuries, but is okay. Does this maybe speak to any additional security details that are needed for these teams when they travel abroad that may not already be in place?
No, it speaks to this kid probably got smart in an Irish bar and got his ass kicked.
I don't know the full story, so I can't say if he was at a bar.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the story where he was at. Was he at a bar? Was he at?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was at a bar. He's coming out of a bar.
I didn't read. I don't know.
Pretty sure, Jim, because that's one of those things I want you to be really sure about if you're going to say
I'm
it.
going to be really sure while you move on to the next one.
All right, next are the Giants besting the Chargers 21-18 in Jackson Dart's first start. He does help propel the Giants and ultimately potentially put Brian Daboll's coaching future in a more positive light, because Daboll was the one that decided to bench Russ Wilson in favor of Dart. While Dart had a meager stat line as far as yards and everything, he did not turn the ball over, while on the other side, Justin Herbert threw 2 interceptions, and the Chargers cannot get it done this week. Big news from this game, the big takeaway for the future of the Giants, Malik Neighbors, I don't know if this may have been officially announced since then, likely torn ACL, and he had been the league leader in receiving yards.
I feel like every time I have a fantasy player, they get hurt. So I feel like I should issue a personal apology to Malik Neighbors for drafting in my fantasy team. Sorry, I feel like I played a role in you tearing your ACL.
Alex, the medical professional, has played a role in a medical emergency, and not in a positive way. Jim, you find anything?
No, I can't see. I can't find it. No, they've buttoned it all up now. This is what the league says.
Okay. All right, moving on. The Eagles take down Nate's Bucks 31-25. This one, the Eagles jumped out early, and they truly had to hold on in the end. The Bucks were without Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin did come back for his first game of the season. Eagles being the Eagles. They had a fake tush push in this game. We had a fake tush push that led to a touchdown.
Push. We had 2 of them in the game.
2 fakes or 2 tushes?
2 fake tush pushes.
Okay. I saw the one. Was it the same play design, or was it a different take on the same fake?
Different take on the same design.
Okay. All right. Nate gets back. We'll ask him about his Bucks. Moving on, the Falcons take down the Commanders 34-27. Marcus Mariota gets the start in place of Jaden Daniels for those Commanders, but it's not the offense that's the problem right now in Washington. The Falcons hang 34 on them, get the win. Without Jaden Daniels, can the Commanders be competitive for their division and playoff spot?
Probably not.
No.
With Jalen Daniels and Terry McLaurin.
Yes. Also, I forgot Terry McLaurin out as well. Thank you. Yeah, not so good right now in Washington. Bills beat the Saints 31-19. The Saints stayed actually competitive in this one most of the way through this game, but the Bills show up and show out when they need to get the win. Unfortunately, Saints starting quarterback Spencer Rattler is now the 9th quarterback in NFL history to lose his first 10 starts, or at least his first 10 starts. He joins Troy Aikman, who started 0-11, Deshaun Kaiser, who went 0-15, and then promptly retired, and Ken Stabler, among a handful of others. How long do we give Spencer Rattler to continue to be a starting quarterback for the Saints and maybe in the NFL?
Not much
It's
longer.
3 weeks.
Jim says 3 more weeks, get to a bye week, and then shuffle them out.
Yeah.
Possibly.
All right, the Lions beat the Browns 34-10. Browns is still the Browns, folks. The question I have is, how long is Joe Flacco going to remain the starter in Cleveland?
I don't know. They need to figure that shit out because the Browns have potential.
Yeah, the Browns have a serviceable defense, but they can't stay off the field is the problem because the offense can't move the ball consistently.
Yep.
And in the NFL, that the time of possession adds up and becomes a problem later in the game.
Yep.
The Patriots dominate the Panthers 42-13.
Yeah, it started. It's funny because Panthers scored first. And then the Patriots just took over and said, "Move out of my way, please."
Yeah. Texans beat the Titans 26-0. Jim?
I think this is more about how bad the Titans are than anything else. Like, Titans are bad.
Yeah, and their starting quarterback even agrees with you, Jim. Cam Ward was quoted after the game as saying, "If we keep it a buck right now, we ass."
I mean, it's not good.
Yeah. So Cam Ward, I mean, to his credit, he's putting it out there. We're not good, and maybe that will challenge the team to be more competitive in weeks to come. Colts Rams. Rams win this game. I don't know the final score.
20-7 or 20-27. God, that's terrible. The Colts look good, but the Rams gonna ram. I mean, that's essentially what happened here.
Yep. Colts aren't able to start the season 4-0. Jags 49ers. Jags won this game, correct?
Sorry, Muff.
Yes.
I'm trying to read a highlight for that Colts game. Give you more intelligent feedback.
The Jags won.
Yes, they did.
49ers didn't look great.
49ers still, missing Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
No, Brock Purdy played today.
Brock Purdy played. Who didn't play?
No real excuses.
George Kittle.
Brock
Kittle
Purdy
didn't play.
Played. Yes. Yeah. That's it.
So Jags win. Jags win. Bears Raiders. The Bears win this one. I know because I was kind of keeping up with this.
25,
Bears
24.
win. Yep. Raiders miss a last-second field goal that would have won the game. Ravens Chiefs live look. We're missing. Ravens Chiefs. Chiefs win this one.
Jackson goes out broken with a hammy.
He's got a hammy. Well, that's a big deal for Lamar Jackson because of the way he plays the position at quarterback. So I will tell you that Keith did not watch this game.
Oh, that's what I was here for.
In fact, I texted him and said, "Are you watching this?" I knew that he had some things to do today, but I thought he may catch some of the game. And he said, "Nope, not watching. Driving back from Baltimore right now." And he was not in Baltimore to watch the game for anything. But he was in Baltimore today and said, "Not watching," but his best friend did text him. And I think that gave all the information that Keith needed to know that things were not going well and that he was not going to be happy when he saw the final score.
Yeah.
Packers Cowboys live look in probably towards the end of the second quarter, I would guess.
Packers up 16-13 at halftime.
Nope. Dallas is up 16-13.
Dallas is up 16-13.
All right. And the marquee matchup of the week, as far as the storylines go, Micah Parsons returning to Dallas. So we see any stat lines on Micah Parsons?
No, I don't care that much.
All right. That takes us to the NFL and brings us into other interesting news in sports.
Interesting news in sports.
Starting in the hockey world, following up on a story that Nate shared last week, but it is now official as Marc-Andre Fleury gets his last playing time in the NHL for the Penguins in a preseason game, played the third period in a weekend game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Fleury's third period shuts out the Blue Jackets. Penguins get the win, and he leaves to the chance of one more year. That indeed will not be happening, but still a great send-off for Fleury.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. And lastly, another interesting news of sports, a few things from the baseball world. Major League Baseball has decided to implement the ball strike challenge system starting in 2026. Each team will be granted 2 challenges and can keep these challenges if they are successful. The challenges can only be initiated by a pitcher, catcher, or batter, with the request coming, and this is what I'm going to be interested in how this comes off, right after the pitch, which is
So
basically
you
means
don't have time to think about it.
they can't consult with the coaches, they can't do anything. It has to be like I'm saying probably by the time the ball gets back to the pitcher. Or even maybe before it's thrown back.
Breaking news.
Yep.
The NFL has announced Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime performer after T Swift declined. Bad Bunny, ladies and gentlemen, as your halftime.
Well, let's be real honest. I don't think Taylor Swift needs the pub of the halftime show.
No.
So I'm not surprised that she turned that down. But the MLB doing the ball strike challenge, I think that's good for the game. And I think
bring eyes to the drama.
Right. Well, or maybe less drama because you have the opportunity to make these challenges and not have coaches come out of the dugout and get thrown out of the game.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Where we may miss some of those belly to belly interactions between coaches, managers, and umpires. I'm also interested to see what type of strategy is used here. Right? Are we just not going to see these in the first 6 innings and wait till the end of the game, or are we going to just see it just right off the bat? Let's get them because we keep them if we get it right.
I don't know. It's just like a weird concept to think like, oh, we're going to call it challenge. Like the whole point was trying to make the game move faster. And now we have implemented another.
I don't know if this is going to slow the game down because it should be pretty quick, yay or nay.
True.
And if you only have 2 a team, granted, if you keep getting them right, you'll get them. But I don't think it's going to add that much time to the game, personally. But we will see. We will see. Let's be honest. We will see within the next 5 months because that's when we'll see it in baseball. Also in baseball, Cal Raleigh is now in the 60 home run club, becoming the 4th American League player all time to hit 60-plus home runs in a regular season. He joins Aaron Judge, Roger Maris, and Babe Ruth. That's the official statement. I think there seems to be someone missing from that list. Barry Bonds. Not even in the conversation.
Wow. All right.
Bonds is banished all the way. And just so we can do our obligatory Pirates update.
Oh, good grief.
Since ERA became an official stat in both leagues in 1913, Paul Skeens becomes the only pitcher to finish a season with 200-plus strikeouts and a sub-2 ERA to not have a winning record. You heard that right. Since 1913, the first in recorded history to have those stats and not have a winning record. I cannot say this more passionately and with more fervor. Sell the team, Bob.
Truly. I mean, it's like, it is wild. Like, if you don't care, then be done. That's it. Period.
Be done. Baseball is not done. In fact, we are just getting started. Playoff season coming. We have the story going into the playoffs. The Cleveland Guardians clinched a playoff spot, and now Houston is out of playoff contention. We now have the full playoff picture set. The Guardians get in after starting September with a 68-67 record, and at the time only had a 48.8% chance of reaching the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. The team then went on an 18-4 run to close the season, which brings the full playoff picture, starting with the best-of-3 wild card series. In the NL, we have the Reds versus Dodgers, who the winner of that will play the Phillies as the number 2 seed. Also in the NL, in the wild card, we have the Padres versus Cubs, the winner playing the Brewers as the number 1 seed. In the AL, The aforementioned Guardians will play the Tigers, with the winner playing the number 2 seed Mariners, and the Red Sox will take on the Yankees in wild card baseball, and the winner will play the number 1 seeded Blue Jays. So if you weren't tuned into baseball, you probably won't be in again for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but the season is coming closer to an end.
Thank God. I mean, oh,
All right, everybody, and that wraps up this live on YouTube edition of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. If you aren't already, make sure that you follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
get the bell on.
Ding ding.
Get that bell on, and make sure that you, if you haven't already, that you tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.